Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Nashville Tour Stop Podcast, episode number 112, featuring Jara Ward. Did you do my old podcast called Selective Listening?
No. Did Annalisa do that one?
I think I did Annalisa. That was right. Yeah, she came on to one of the 10 episodes that I did.
Yes.
That was my Let's Get Drunk and Talk About Music podcast, which was a lot of fun, but it's hard to keep your wits about you when you record 3 of those in a row and you have to drink on all of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So no longer selective listening.
Oh, good. Okay.
But welcome to the podcast, Jara. We are now broadcasting live from Interstate Music on Music Row.
I know, it was so exciting.
It's
when I
much
came down
nicer
Music
than my
Row.
living room.
Ah.
Yeah, I'm glad that you guys no longer have to look at the backdrop of my kitchen on the videos, and that you don't have to be like, Aaron's couch with that's dog hair.
Yum.
I'm sorry you don't get to meet little Phil.
I know, I was kind of looking forward to what the house pod looked like, but that's okay.
But
this is quite an upgrade.
Yeah, I'm sure I've mentioned multiple times on the show now I had to rehome her. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
I had to rehome my dog on the vet's recommendation. So she was having health issues related to being in her crate too much because of my work schedule.
Yeah.
So I gave her to some friends of mine over in East Nashville who've got a doggy door and a fenced-in backyard and other little furry friends to play with. So she's thriving.
Well, at least you can go see her. Can you go visit her?
I can.
Oh, good.
But I haven't been without her for that long. It's been a little over a month, and they're sending me photos. Like, look how happy she is. And I'm like, we just broke up. I'm not ready to see my ex yet. It's like, I know we used to sleep in the same bed together, but I'm not ready to see how happy she is with somebody else.
It's like when you babysit and you send the mom pictures of her kid every once in a while just so she knows.
Look at this thing that you made and is now wholly in my care.
We're doing great, thanks.
We're doing great. So how long have you lived here in Nashville?
Almost 3.5 years, I'd guess.
You're a Montanian?
Montanian. I am. Well, I guess technically I was born in California, in Southern California, but then...
You're a SoCal baby.
I am, but I'm more like desert, not like
desert SoCal.
Not like what people think SoCal is.
You're
I'm definitely like desert.
I was
the ocean's nowhere
in
around.
Joshua Tree.
Yeah. There's no ocean around.
So when did you move up to Montana then?
When I was 6,
okay,
almost
so
7.
You were pretty much raised there.
I was raised in Montana.
Not flatland. You're the mountains.
I'm the mountain.
The mountains.
The
Montana.
mountain woman.
How long? So you lived there all through high school and college and everything?
Yeah. So the 3 semesters of college I did was at the University of Montana.
What did you study before you decided it wasn't for you?
Music education.
Ah, yes. I thought that might be my move for a while too. And turns out wasn't.
Ain't it? That ain't the one.
Teaching people sucks.
My older sister is a teacher. She's great at it.
Good for you.
But I could never.
My older brother was a teacher for a long time and he quit.
I was a teacher, but for early childhood education. So it was 0 to 5. So I just got to teach them how to be cool. Here's how you go to the bathroom and tie your shoes. Yeah, literally, here's how to put a coat on. You don't know? Let me teach you. It was the greatest thing they ever learned. They were like, "Oh my god, you know everything." I'm like, here's how a zipper works.
Though, because I was one of the students that I, as a teacher, would not have wanted to have. I distracted others. I didn't pay attention. I was loud. I mean, that was because of the deaf, but I was loud, and I wasn't good at anything. I was just a dumb, loud kid, just let's go to the playground. And they're like, Aaron, it's 9:01 in the morning. This is the first class of the day.
I need you to simmer down.
We need you to, you're at an 11, and we need you to be at a 1 right now. We need you to be almost asleep.
Wow.
Yeah, I wasn't a good student.
That's okay.
And I can't imagine trying to be a 30-year-old now and have to deal with 30 of that kid.
Yeah,
which is what teaching is.
Yeah, I started working at a daycare through my last couple years of high school. And that was a small in-home one that turned a house into a daycare.
Mm-hmm.
And that was great. I loved it. I ended up managing it. And then they switched ownership, and so then I moved over to a preschool, and that one was big.
Big school.
Yeah, 0 to 5, but it was all separate classrooms. And so I ended up in the preschool section. Is kind of where I thrived the most, I feel like, because they already knew how to use the bathroom. I didn't have to teach them
You didn't
that.
have to teach them.
They like, when they got to me, it was like, okay, this isn't an issue we're going to have. Got it. Love that. So we had 28 to 32 kids. And it was so much. Of course, had like, you have like ratio numbers and whatever. So it's like 8 kids to 1 teacher, but also like 8 kids for 1 teacher.
For
That's
1 human.
Crazy. Thinking about it now, that was like, oh my gosh, how did I ever do that?
I
love it. I do love it.
I wouldn't have been good at this.
But also in the wintertime, I used to do that. And then in the winters, I would go teach skiing and snowboarding.
That's cool.
And I got my certification up there. But it was kind of the same thing. Like I gravitated towards the little kids who didn't know how to ski. Mm-hmm. And so you go through like this all winter program. They have like a 6 or 8 week program that we do up at the ski hill.
You teach them the pizza and the French fries. We teach them.
We start from they've never touched a pair of skis in their life. And then at the end of it, they get to go up the chairlift. So one year we had like this big class. I still think about it and how I ever did it. I'll never know. I'll never know how I did this. But we had... like the parents can volunteer like on the last lesson day, 6 weeks after. They can volunteer to like go up the lift with all of us. Mm-hmm. And it's not like this was an intense mountain. Like people would say if you could ski Snow Bowl, you could ski anywhere. Because it is a little bit intense. It's a lot of steep. It's a lot of steep.
Okay.
And so...
not a lot of greens.
Not a lot of greens. 1, essentially.
That's the bunny hill.
At that point, yes. Literally. And so we would take the kids up and it's just like a nice little trail and it's not steep and it just goes, but it takes forever. And then we had, I think, 14 children.
That's a lot.
Small children under the age of probably 7.
Oh, I got chills.
Literally like 5 and 6-year-olds. And you're like, I think about that now. I'm like, how crazy was I? But I mean, it all worked out. Like we had plenty of, everybody knew that like that was the last day. And so other instructors were ready to volunteer. Parents all, of course, wanted to see their kids go up the lift. So we pretty much had 1 adult on every single kid, but it was just like all of them trying to get down and we would do it in sections. So it'd be like, okay, we're going to go literally from me to you. And then just getting everyone there is this train. You just have kids like pizzaing and then
pizzaing all the way down.
And then one just like straight down. You got that one. I'm like, oh my God.
I was lucky enough to have a one-on-one teacher when I was learning how to ski.
Yes.
And I didn't realize how beneficial it was because by the end of the first day, I was ready to go down the bunny hill. And by the end of the second day, I was ready to go down the easiest green by myself.
Yep.
Because you do need that one-on-one, but I can't imagine just being in a class and they're like, all right, this is how you buckle. And then there's 14 kids just like, I don't get it.
Literally. And they're all just cold. Yeah.
They're like, I want to go back inside and play on my iPad.
Yes. Yes.
I was talking to my brother the other day because he's got a 7-year-old now, and my family's been talking about going on a ski trip and doing that. And I'm like, all right, who's in charge of teaching the 7-year-old?
Literally. Get him a one-on-one
like,
lesson.
That is your kid, Joel. Mm-hmm. Like, that's your first 2 days. Yep. I'm going to go do the fun stuff.
Yep. Yeah.
And then
I didn't know you knew how to ski.
I started skiing in 2004.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whole other side of me you never knew about.
I did not know that.
Yeah. In my peak days of like my ability, I would hike up to the top of the mountains. I would take the T-bar and then hike to the peak.
Oh, a T-bar.
I was one of those.
Look at you with the slang.
Oh, yeah. I was one of those.
That's amazing. I remember my first T-bar on a snowboard. It's the worst decision I ever made.
I've never snowboarded.
The worst decision I ever made was to try to do the T-bar on my snowboard. I was like, why can I not do this?
Because, you'd be like, almost like riding it up and you're like, oh shit, I'm buckled on
Well,
this.
I think that was either like the day that I had taught back-to-back lessons all morning or whatever, or it was the day that I took my snowboard certification. And so we were like, you're with your instructor and all of that stuff. So we were like going all day. And then the last one was on the T-bar and like my legs were shaking.
Shaking because they hurt so bad.
Oh, I'm so tired. And I literally fell. I've never fallen like on the tow rope. I'd been snowboarding for I don't even know how long at this point. And skiing. Like I'm very familiar with how to do both of those things. But I literally was like, what is this contraption? And why do I not know how to use it right now? My body
does not compute.
No, literally. The brain connection wasn't happening. And I literally fell twice. And I was like, I've never wanted to cry more than I do right now in this moment.
I I remember, I think I was 17 or 18. I was skiing in Breckenridge, Colorado, and I yard sailed so hard underneath a ski lift that I thought I had broken my neck. Like, it was so bad that people from the lift were calling down, like, asking if I was okay, because I lost both of my skis and both of my poles, and I had hit a mogul. And instead of just going, my legs went up and I landed on my neck, and like, and I sat there because I was kind of in shock, and I was just like, I can't move. And I wasn't actually hurt, fortunately, but it was the like impact shock that made me think like I need emergency services right now.
You're like one of those cartoons that has like when they go through the snow, they're like their body shape is left in the
When
mouth.
did you learn to ski?
I was shortly after we moved to Montana, so I was 7 or 8 is when I started skiing.
Okay.
And then I did that for a couple of years, 4 or 5 years or so, and then my sister started snowboarding. She was like, "You should snowboard. It's way cooler." And I was like, "God, I want to be cool."
I don't want to learn to do.
And she's my older sister, so I'm like, I want to be cool. Okay. And so I started snowboarding. Not for a while. I was like, not doing. I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm like, I'm fine with skiing. I had done classes every year. Like, we did the 6-week program because I was also homeschooled. I don't know if,
I didn't know that about you.
I think we might have talked about it, but maybe not a lot of people know that.
Homeschool. You don't give off big homeschool vibes.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I know. Sometimes it really comes out. You'll just wait.
I'll keep an eye out for it now, and you're going to be on stage and say something. I'm like, oh, she didn't think anyone heard that.
No.
Oops. Oops.
Yeah.
So snowboarding then is I've thought that it would translate because I skateboard, and then I was talking to a friend of mine who does both, and they're like, these are not the same.
I'm a god awful skateboarder.
These are not the same.
I really thought I was going to be a skateboarder. I thought I was going to be a skater boy.
I went through a skateboarding phase for a long time. I haven't done it for a while because I crashed really badly. And unlike when I skied and crashed, I wanted to keep doing it. After I skateboarded and crashed, I was like, maybe this isn't for me. There was too much blood, and I was just like, nope.
Yeah, no. So I did snowboarding. I did snowboarding probably maybe after a year of my sister like being like, you should try it.
Were you going down blues and blacks with the snowboard?
With skis, I was. I was like doing all the runs that are on the mountain kind of thing. And I was also just like getting bored.
Right.
I was like, okay.
It's downhill. Cool.
Yeah, like I've done all these runs. I know what to do. Like, I'm good.
Give me something harder.
So then I was like, okay, let's snowboard. And I did a lesson and all that stuff, and it went great.
Really?
And I was like, okay. So then that's actually how I started teaching. We moved to a new town, and then that's how I ended up at Snow Bowl. So that ski hill was like 20 minutes from our house.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I was like, okay, well, we're just going to go up there. And my mom actually was the one that started the homeschool program up there because they didn't have one. And my mom was like, oh, well, this is what we did.
Do you go to like school in the morning and then go ski in the afternoon?
No, we literally every Thursday. It was every Thursday at our old mountain, and then it was every Monday at the new mountain. We would literally just get up and go take a lesson and ski all day.
That's cool.
That would be my Monday.
That's cool.
Could be worse.
That's not a bad way
As
to
an
grow
adult
up.
saying that out loud, I'm like, oh shit.
You're like, I had a pretty sweet childhood.
Literally, I'm like, this kind of rules for real.
Like I think about that because like I didn't get homeschooled. I went to a private school and I had a really normal childhood. It was boring. Like big days for me were going to like, oh, we're going to go spend the weekend at the Holiday Inn in Branson, Missouri. And I was like, oh, I get to eat Lay's potato chips out of a vending machine.
Yes.
Oh,
forget about it.
It had a sauna, which at the time I didn't know what that was. And I was like, why are all of my family members sitting in that hot room?
Yeah, what is that? Yes, I love the sauna now.
I love a sauna.
I love a sauna.
Do you ever just like let the hot water run over you on a shower or something? You're like, I wish that this was a hot tub.
Yes.
I would get nothing done if I had access to a hot tub daily.
I have one in our apartment complex. We have one. I know. We also have a sauna too. Please
I'm
don't.
jelly now.
Please don't hate me.
You want to trade houses?
I mean, if your dog was still there, maybe.
Damn it. But I've been thinking about that a lot lately because in my old age, my body doesn't quite flex the way that it used to. And I'm worried that if I started going skiing again the way that I used to when I was a kid, it's like I would definitely tear an ACL. Like I would
absolutely hurt myself. I've smacked my entire body into a tree and I was like, great. And just carried on with my life. And I was like, wow, those are not soft. But then just like kept going. I was like, my arm feels a little numb, but I'm doing great. And
You're
then
like, is this pins and needles normal?
Like what? And then, as I have gotten older, I think the last time I went skiing was 2 or 3 Christmases ago with my sister. And she actually took her daughter with us.
Cool.
So that was like the first time we had her. Like, I have the greatest picture of her ever. She's like, has her snowsuit on. You can barely see her face. And she's like,
so happy.
And she was so happy. She did not cry a single time. It was snowing. The wind was blowing. It was kind of cold, but she was having the time of her life. She's like, I don't know what this shit is, but this is the greatest thing ever. This is the
greatest ever.
So I think that was the last time I went skiing. And then I had gone a few days later with my best friend. And I had fallen. We switched skis like idiots because we're like the same boot size, same adjustment size on our bindings. And I had gotten new skis a couple years back, but we hadn't skied together. And so she wanted to try them. And so we were like, let's switch. So we switched and I like started going down the hill, popped out and like landed on my shoulder the wrong way. And I was like,
something's wrong.
And the thing that came out of my mouth was like, I was like 95. And I like look back at it now and laugh, but I literally couldn't move. And her younger brother was like skiing behind me and she was already up ahead. And he was like, oh my God, are you okay? And he like started laughing, but I literally just tears started pouring out of my face. I did not know what was happening. And he like, I like opened my eyes and he's like over the top of me. He's like, are you okay? I was like, I don't know. And like we popped my shoulder back and I was like, oh, and I like heard it and he heard it and I was like, eh. And so then I literally, oh my God, we had to ski down to the next lift. We were already too far gone. So we had to ski down to the next lift and then go up that and then ski all the way down the mountain to get back to the lodge. And I was like, I'll be fine. Nope. I start skiing. We get to the bottom to the first lift. I was like, I need to be done.
I'm not going to be fine.
So I like went into the emergency room. They like wrapped it and then I get home. And I'm like, hey, Mom and Dad.
So something happened.
Yeah, a little casual Christmas vacation. I was like, look at this. But the emergency...
And like, sorry for the medical bills you're about to start getting.
I didn't actually do anything. I just had the sling wrapped and it was fine after a couple days. It was just really,
Does
really
it pop
sore.
all the time
Oh,
now?
yeah. Oh, I got all kinds of issues. I've never had it looked at, which is really not smart. But it's also just like, she still works.
The joys of adulthood.
Yeah.
So much money for these wrists by snowboarding.
Crack.
Yeah,
crack,
see,
crack.
I don't know if I could do it now. It's been a couple years since I've been skiing. I was like, oh man, how would I do? It's honest, like a genuine question. Be like, let's find out.
My dad just got back from a ski trip and he took his wife's extended family and all their kids. And it was the first time any of them had been skiing. So they all did like the training stuff. So his first day, he's been skiing since the 90s, but it hadn't occurred to him. It was like, he hadn't skied in like 5 years. So
maybe start out on a green.
He did. And then he was like, this will be fine. And then he went on to a blue and he's like, I should go back.
Oh,
he fell down the first day and bruised his entire leg. And he's like,
yes.
I'm not ready for this.
I'm also much farther away from the ground than I used to be. Like the ground is so far away. It's so far. Like
yeah,
what?
When you're 5'3", you're like, oh, I don't fall that far. But that extra, whatever, 5 inches, 10 inches, whatever
it'll
it comes
get
out
ya.
to be. You're 5'10"?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just about.
Yeah, I think I'm around 5'10"
yeah.
too. So yeah, it's a long way to fall
It's
down.
a bit. It's just like, I'm good.
It hurts a lot worse when you're 30 because when you're 15 and you fall down, your body heals the next day.
That's right.
And if we fall down now, we're done.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm 26, sir. Don't clump me in the 30 category just yet, please.
Downhill from here.
I still have time.
I still have time.
Don't go into the light.
So, growing up in ski town, ski world, Montana, what made you want to do music?
I had like a midlife crisis at the age of 12. And like my sister knew what she wanted to do. Granted, she's like 4.5 years older than me. So she was already like
16.
Yeah, in that mindset of like, okay, I have to start figuring out what I like to do. And then my best friend, she was 12 when we met too. And that's actually how I met her. But everybody knew what they wanted to do. And I was like 12. I'm like, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what I'm good at. I don't know anything.
And you're like,
Who
I'm also
am I?
12.
Literally. But I remember when we were little, we'd use like the little Mozart mouse and Beethoven Bear for piano. And I ate that shit up as a kid. And
Really?
I remember it. Like fully remember. I can see like in my head now, my sister and I sitting at the piano and I'm like taking it so seriously and I loved it. Well, at 12, I was like, oh, I remember what I'm good at.
That.
And I literally made my mom get me piano lessons. I was like,
That's
Mom,
cool.
we're doing this. And she's like, what?
Why?
And so she started looking at piano teachers and we found one. She was an older lady.
I feel like there's never like a young lady piano teacher.
No.
They're all in their mid 60s.
Yeah. But she became I call her my Montana grandma. So she and she introduced me to my best friend of now 13, 14 years.
Wow.
Yes.
That's cool.
So she was like family friends with my best friend. And she was like, oh, I need you to meet this girl. Like, I think that you guys would just be great friends. And
She was
right. She was right. Like, oh my God. So then I stuck with piano lessons for a really long time with her. And then it came to the point about my junior, almost senior year of high school. She was like, I can't teach you anymore. I don't have anything else to teach you. So I need to recommend you to another teacher. And I was like, I hate myself. This is not happening. So that was so hard because
You didn't want a new teacher.
I don't want a new teacher. I'm like, can you just know?
Can you get better?
Can we just can we
you
work
take
on it
lessons and
together?
then you
Maybe
teach
I
me
don't
what you
know.
learned?
Yes, I also don't love change.
Right.
At that point, I really super didn't love it. So then she said the same thing to my best friend, and we were like, "What are we gonna do?"
It sounded like she was just trying to get rid of all of her students.
Yeah, well, maybe us too, because we are specifically chaotic when
The
we are
problem
together.
children.
Only when we're together, we're good kids. But when we were together, we were just like.
It's like me in
But we
school.
were fun and charming, just a little off the wall.
Just a little loud.
Yeah, just a little crazy.
It was like me.
So we actually both moved over to the same piano professor, which we had gone to the University of Montana and watched piano concerts and all that kind of stuff as part of like our curriculum and stuff she was teaching us.
That's cool.
Yeah. So it was a great experience. And so we both kind of were like, well, let's see if he's taking new students. And sure enough, he loved us.
Cool.
We had gone to piano camp. I went to piano camp for 4 years.
Wow.
So did she. So that was our thing. We were known as the BFFs. So that's what we did.
I never went to piano camp.
If you think nerds are like band camp, I
camp.
realize that I'm way nerdier than any classical for the most part. Yeah. Which we can move on to that later about how I feel about that. But we did that and he was taking students and he loved us and we were like, great. So for the last year and a half of high school, I was with the professor at the university, which was great. Definitely a step up. And that's kind of how I decided I wanted to do music education because I was also like managing a preschool and then moved to the bigger preschool and then started directing that. And then I was like, okay, I love this. I want to teach and make music. Well, let's just throw them together, have the perfect career, shabam. That's not how that worked. I got to the third semester. I loved it. And then the third semester I went to like a school and did like a student day and kind of just see what my life would be like. Immediately no. As
soon as you start seeing 13-year-olds or high school
as soon as they
students, you're like,
walked in and they had trombones, I was like,
nope.
Absolutely not. I will not do this. I will not be doing this.
I'm not
and
directing
what's
sixth
that thing?
grade band.
Yes. What's that thing that wrapped around the French horn? I'm like, oh, this is what my life would be like. I'm like, absolutely not. I will not. No.
Hard pass.
No. Yeah.
Hard pass.
So it was then I knew I was like, that was nothing like I wanted it to be. I do not want to do this. I now am having another midlife crisis as I don't know what to do.
Oh my God.
So then I was like, I'm going to take a year off because I don't want to spend any more money if I don't know what I'm doing. And those 3 semesters were great. I mean, I took choir the whole time. I mean, I did music theory. I progressed so much in piano. And then piano also kind of became like a job instead of like something that I would love to go and have it be like a release. Like music was a release at that point. And that's kind of helped me create I think, some of my best work.
Cool.
And so then it became like a job, and I was like, I don't love this.
Started feeling,
and
it feels like work.
Yeah, and it felt like, but not the good work. Like the work that you're like, I despise this.
I do not want to go clock in at this Ace Hardware again.
No, yeah.
I do not want to sign up to teach 6th grade band.
I just couldn't do it. And God bless the people that can, because that is a different kind of patience that I lack. And it,
not me.
Yeah. Also, like 0 to 5, it has been my age range for 8 years.
13-year-olds are mean.
Yeah, I just
4-year-olds
like
don't. And they're not mean to be mean. They're just like, that's my block. Done.
And it just makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, 4-year-olds' logic makes sense.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, this isn't fair. And I'm like, wow, you're right.
You're right. That isn't fair.
That's so true. You got me.
There's no nuance in a 4-year-old's brain. They're just like, this isn't fair. I'm hungry. Give me a snack. And you're like, cool.
Period. Done.
No subtext.
Yes, you're literally done. Like, they say what they need, and that's it. You do have to teach them a couple emotions.
Adults should be more like that.
Really? For real?
I need a cookie.
I need a snack. I'm hungry.
I need a snack.
See?
So
Exhibit
Jara
A.
did bring us cookies to the podcast today. Homemade cookies.
I know he was like, I've talked about that. He was like, I said, oh, I brought cookies. And he was like, oh, most people bring beer. I was like, oh, sorry. I was like, wait, was I supposed to bring beer?
Most people bring booze, and you brought something I actually want.
I did actually make, with my boyfriend's parents over Christmas, we made sugar cookies, but we made this frosting that we put Old Smoky's caramel whiskey in the frosting. I dream about them. They're so good.
That sounds really good.
It was the first time I'd ever done that. And so we just did that, the caramel whiskey instead of vanilla flavoring for the frosting. And I was like,
oh my God. So you've been to the Oak Room at Greenbrier Distillery. Did you go on their whiskey tour? So before our shows, we do like distillery tours, and then they have a whiskey flight at the end of the tour right before our show starts. And she's like, I need to do that. But one of the tastings they do is their, I think it's pecan liqueur or something, but
yum.
It tastes so good. And they recommend making brownies with it, but instead of putting in water, just substitute it for all the booze. Make boozy brownies, and it's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Literally.
So thank you for bringing
maybe that's
snacks.
My, you're welcome. Maybe that's my thing is booze baking.
Booze baking?
Have to get
That
Jack D.
That might see? That's it. I just need to be sponsored by Jack Daniels.
What would
honey.
Jack Daniels do? That brings us to a great segue.
He would start a booze bakery.
They would. But you had a single come out last year called WWJDD. What would Jack Daniels do?
I did.
Tell us about What Would Jack Daniels Do? Who did you write this with?
I wrote it with Heath Bennett and Steve Thomas.
Cool.
I actually had the idea before I moved to Nashville.
Really?
Yeah. So.
And you moved here in what year?
2020.
2020.
That was
Great
what
year
I
to
was
move.
saying is I had dropped out of school, and then I started directing at this new preschool, and I was like, okay, I'm going to run with this and start making music. So that's what I did in Montana for like the first 2-3 years. I just started writing my own songs. I ended up playing like a couple of breweries, distilleries, and all that kind of stuff around there a little bit. And then I actually went into a studio there and like did a couple of recordings.
That's cool.
Yeah, and had like a 5-song, just real...
A little EP.
Yeah, like little simple stuff that I never released. Mm-hmm. But I had like, I wanted to get as much experience as I could before coming here, whether that was like in a studio or whatever. So then I finally moved in 2020 because COVID was March 2020. And then September, I was like...
That was 4 years ago?
Literally.
Holy
almost. Almost. I was like, whoa. And so my mindset was like, okay, I don't really have anything holding me back. You know, home will always be here. I can always visit. COVID could be around forever and ever. Amen. And so I'm going to go do what I know that I've been wanting to do. And I had never been to Nashville, but since the age of 3, I've wanted to sing. So
did you just move here cold?
Yes.
You never visited before you moved?
Absolutely not.
That's ballsy.
It's just like, why? You know?
Why not?
It's just like, I just know. I don't know how I know. You
just knew.
I just knew. I was
That's
like,
cool.
If this is where all the country music is coming out of, then by God, I got to go there.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's...
Did you just pick a random apartment?
That's what I knew. No, so I met my roommates, my first roommates that I had on Facebook Marketplace. Shout out.
Not sketchy at all.
But we talked for like a couple of months, and we actually did like a couple of video chat dates, and she showed me around the house, and we got to like get to know each other a little bit before we were like, okay, great. They turned out to be safe, reliable people. She actually was the homeowner, and so she was renting out her other 2 rooms, which a lot of people do. And then I actually found a job at a daycare here that I worked at a school for a while. I just didn't love it. And so then I like went a month without a job, which I've never
That's a long time.
I've never done. Yeah, in the middle of COVID. What?
That was the longest I went without work.
I literally say
3
that
months.
now. I like am going over all these things that I've done. I'm like, what?
Why did I do that?
Crazy. And so then I ended up nannying. It was kind of like it was definitely like a God thing set up that they found me and I found them. And it was just perfect. And so that is a long lasting relationship. And they've been so supportive of my music career from the moment we met. Cause I told them, I was like,
was it just one kid you were nannying?
3, but mostly one throughout the entire span of it.
The youngest, presumably.
Yeah, 0 to 5 age group still. So it was great.
That's cool.
They knew what I was here to do, and they were super supportive, and so that's how I ended up here. And then what would Jack Daniels do? I had that idea before I even moved, and I like couldn't write it. And then I got here, and I had my first write with Heath Bennett, and I can vividly still see him sitting on the floor. He like sat on the floor of his apartment, and I was like, that was maybe my second co-write ever. And I was like, what is happening? I was like, what is going on? And we got the chorus, and I was like, great. Kind of set the song aside. And then I met Steve Thomas, who I wrote Mountain Man with. He's got like half of my discography has his name on it as one of the writers. And so what would Jack Daniels do? I was like, we were trying to figure out what to write. And I was like, oh, I have this song. Heath wrote the chorus, so we were like, hey, we're going to maybe try the verses. And he was like, yeah. And little did I know, Steve is like a Jack Daniels connoisseur. Like
people who love it,
love it. He knows so many things about Jack Daniels that I didn't know. Like in the second verse, it's like spend Sunday mornings with Jasper. I had no idea that was like Jack Daniels' name.
I
was like Jasper. Yeah, I've never
Jasper Daniels.
Jasper. It's like it was like either his real name or his nickname. I can't even remember what he said.
Jasper sounds like a kid who you'd beat up on the playground.
And then as his revenge, he makes a multi-billion dollar whiskey company. Yeah, got him. And so the song got finished in maybe an hour because like all of these things, he was like, oh, well, this, and this. And then we just kind of had the melody and was like, okay, we're done.
That's kismet. That's cool.
It was great. It was just awesome. And it just kind of became everything that I needed to be. It was one of those songs that it was great that it sat there for 6 years. Like just the idea.
So that's something that I've actually experienced so many times where I'll hold an idea that I know I like, but I'm not going to go to a specific co-write and present it to somebody because they won't get it.
Yeah.
And you have to take specific ideas to specific people who can deliver that.
Yeah.
And it feels, I don't want to say selfish to hold on to what I would consider like a good idea.
Yeah.
And I don't want to just give it to anybody.
Yeah.
You want to give it to people who are going to do it justice.
Yeah. That's true. It was also, I think that was like the first time too that I had ever, because we didn't change anything in the chorus. We literally just tacked the verses on. But that was like the first time I had ever done, like, wrote the song with one person, the chorus, and then
taken it elsewhere.
Finished it, and it was just like boom. So it was just awesome the way it all turned out. It was great.
And then you just had a single come out 10 days ago. Today is February 19th, 2024, the year of our Lord Lainey Wilson.
Amen.
Amen. Watermelon may shine.
My dad asked me when I went back home for over Thanksgiving break, he was like, he had asked me something. It might have even just been on the phone. I can't even remember. But he was like, do you sing that watermelon song? And I was like,
What?
Literally. I was
that
like,
watermelon
what,
song?
Dad? And he's like, the watermelon drinking song. I was like, are you talking about Watermelon Moonshine right now? And he was like, yeah,
That's
that
the
one.
one.
He's like, that's a great song. I was like, yeah. He goes, I bet that stuff tastes pretty good, huh? I was like, I don't know, Dad. I've never had it. But that was like his topic of conversation. He's like, you sing that song? I was like, almost every day of my life.
Every day. It's like, it's a huge song.
Yes.
Like, it's debatably
the watermelon drinking song. Donnie
get
Ward.
That t-shirt. This is my watermelon drinking t-shirt.
I just thought it was
This
so
is my
funny.
watermelon drinking song.
Yes. So now I say that every time someone requests it. I say, my dad loves this song. He just doesn't ever can remember the name of it.
So you have your new single, though.
Yes.
That came out 10 days ago. What's that called?
It's called My Little Girl's Heart.
My Little Girl's Heart. Did you co-write this with the same people then?
With Connor. No,
Okay.
Connor Sweeney. It's a duet.
Cool.
And that was actually the first co-write that I had with Connor ever.
Really?
Like, I met him, and then we ended up scheduling a write, and...
Co-writes with the first person, or first time co-writes with somebody can be so awkward.
Yes. And
you can
we didn't
spend
have a
3
third.
hours just getting to know someone.
Yes. There was no third. It was just me and him.
Those one-on-ones can be tough.
Yes. Yeah. And he's like really a great songwriter.
Just clicked right into
great
it.
musician. Yes. And I had pitched this idea to like quite a few other rooms, and no one really clung to it. And I was like, man, maybe this is just dog shit. Like, maybe I just need to put it in the graveyard kind of idea, because nobody wanted it. And I'm over here, I'm like, this is the greatest idea ever.
I love that. So you two wrote it. Does he sing on the record?
He does.
That's cool.
Yep. It's a full-blown duet. We wrote it. It was within 2 hours. He
That's
was
fast.
like, I want to write that. And I was like, oh, are you serious?
No foreplay. You're like, this is what we're doing. Let's go.
Yes. And I just like threw it out there because at that point I was just expecting him to say no. That's how many people were like not clinging to it.
So
And
how was this song's recording process different than what you did up in Montana?
This was like full... I mean, it was everything that I've done here between Mountain Man, What Would Jack Daniels Do, and My Little Girl's Heart has been so different than what I did in Montana, because in Montana, I was the musician. So, and then there was other musicians that had come in and recorded their instruments just kind of whenever they could. But for this, it was full band all at once.
Oh,
And
that's cool.
yes, it was so good.
Tracking live like that's a special
For-
sound.
Yes, for What Would Jack Daniels Do, and this one, it was great. Mountain Man, Heath Bennett actually produced that. So that was a very cool song because it was the first one I ever released. Steve and I wrote that, and Heath produced it, and I got to be there for all of it, and it was awesome. So he just did it at his home studio, and it was like not full band stuff, but just one instrument at a time. I don't know what that's called. Tracking. Something like that. And so that was just like a really special, just a overall special friendship project song. So, but for the other two, it was full band, which I had never seen before. So it still amazes me every time. Like, I knew exactly what was going to happen for My Little Girl's Heart.
Did you have the vision for what you wanted it to sound like and the vibe to be?
So I don't have that ability.
Okay.
I do not have that ability, really. I know what I want it to sound like,
But you
and if it doesn't, I'll be like, that's not it. But I cannot.
You don't know how to verbalize it?
Not really, which is probably...
That's the job of a producer. It's just to be like, here's the song.
Yeah.
And here's what I think can do service to the song, or the music that can do service to the song.
Yeah. And I think after like releasing all three of them, I had no idea how I wanted them to sound like. But if you asked me, I'd be like, oh yeah, this is it. This is literally
When
it.
you listen to Mountain Man, that's exactly what you
That's
heard in your
exactly
head.
how it's supposed to sound. I
Right.
couldn't tell you how. And I wouldn't have known how to do that myself. So it's just like, but yeah, this is exactly what it's supposed to sound like.
That's something that has always been a weird process for me, because I always do know exactly what I want my songs to sound like.
That's wild.
And it's weird meeting people who don't just have that in them. And because every time I've written a song, I immediately, like, my contribution to a co-write is like, this is the guitar part.
Wow.
And, like, I immediately just start writing the guitar riff for a song.
Wow.
And then I'll be like, okay, so, and then you do this, and then I'll put this on top of it, and I just start building it immediately. And it's weird for me to do something different than that. And just being like, all right, so we're going to write the song, just the words right now. And I'm like, It's like I hear what I want it to be like.
Yeah. What's crazy is like I have all this music theory and like 12 years of piano, and I still can't do that.
Still can't do that.
I'm just like, oh yeah, that's it. Or if I hear, I'm like, no. But I think after releasing these 3 songs, I think the more music that I release, the more I'll be able to be like, this is what I want this to sound like. So I think it might just be a part of like artist development.
Right.
Because I think the skill is there. I just really haven't had the chance to maybe untap it because I only have 3 songs out.
Right.
To be honest. So
like I put out my first record when I was 18.
Nice.
So I put out my first album 12 years ago. And it's crazy thinking about how much music I've put out in that time because in my brain it hasn't been that much. But I've done, let's see, three albums and 9 singles or something. Like that's a lot of music that I've recorded over the years. And I guess from my perspective, it's like I've just done it a lot.
Yeah.
And sure, of course, at this point, trying to do more, it's just intrinsically in there.
Yeah.
And that creative bone, I don't have to turn on. It just
right
runs.
there.
That motor just runs.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely might be one of those things that you just either have it or you don't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, some people don't hear harmony. Like, that's something that from you probably being a pianist, do you hear harmony when you sing?
So that's the other frustrating thing is I have started to hear it the more that now that I'm doing like music full time and I'm singing with other musicians, I can start to hear it. It's not my best trait.
Really?
It is not my
I've almost annoyingly so harmonized with music. I've always had for a deaf guy, I've always had a really good ear. And
that is annoying.
I know. I've been harmonizing with stuff since I was a kid. And I joined I was in church choir when I was like 5. Like,
yeah.
Like harmony has always been second nature to me.
See, I think I've also been in choir and I've done that from a very young age through college. And if you tell me the note,
you can sing that.
I got it.
But you can't find it.
But if you want me to try and find it, okay. We'll be here for a while.
We're going to be here for a while.
Yeah. I've gotten a lot better at it now, especially just by singing and just like trying to find it. I've been given a lot of great advice. It's like, if you're in the car, just turn on the radio. One of my buddies, he was like, I literally learned how to sing harmony by listening to Lady Antebellum.
Wow.
It's like first 3 albums. And I was like, they are kind of the Chiefs at it.
Like the
harmony.
first song I ever wrote before I even had music theory training, because when I was in college, one of my mini majors was music theory and composition. So like I majored in that stuff. But the first song I ever wrote when I was 15, the melody had a tritone in it. And I used 4-part harmony. And the song was written in 7/4. Like,
ew.
I wrote a
what?
Crazy prog rock song is my first song. And thinking about it now, it's like I really did start as difficult as I could.
That's
And then now when I write these cowboy chord songs, I'm just like, yeehaw, this is easy.
Oh my gosh. That is, yes, you definitely made that a little harder on yourself.
So the first song I ever released.
4-part harmony?
4-part harmony.
What are you doing?
I was writing 4-part harmony when I was 15 years old.
Literally. Aaron's like, here's the bar.
Not only was I writing 4-part harmony, I was writing 4-part harmony where all of us were singing harmony, and then part of the melody that we were all following was following that tritone. So we were singing descending tritones in harmony, and it's this beautiful, horrible chaos.
I mean, honestly, kudos to you, because I could not do that.
Alex, do you know what a tritone is? So for those of you listening who don't know the term a tritone, that's an interval in music theory. The Simpsons, that interval. Ba-da-da, I just met a girl named Maria. Mm-hmm. Like that's called the devil's interval, and it's because it uses 3 whole tones to get to the interval.
Right.
Or 3 whole steps, excuse me. 3 whole steps to get to the interval. And it's
and for what?
I don't know why people think it sounds bad, but I think it sounds so good.
It does sound so good. It does sound so good, but it sure doesn't make the job easier. Just get to it.
Yeah, that's also why I didn't finish music theory, because I was trying to write that kind of music, and then my theory and composition teachers were like, that's not good. Let's do...
Oops.
Oh, I had some brutal teachers in college that all of whom, if you're listening, you're why I almost dropped out. It's also why I changed my major so many times.
Yeah.
But like, I've had we're talking about having I know what I want my music to sound like.
Yeah.
I had that inside of me. So having somebody tell me that it was 1, wrong,
Yeah.
and 2, don't do this. I was like, there's no wrong in music.
No, thank you.
No, yeah.
Oh, no.
No. And
that's also why I love music, is because you can just make whatever you want.
Make whatever you want.
And if you
no
know
right
the
or
rules,
wrong.
that's great, because you can manipulate them to make whatever you want.
Yep. It's like recipes for a cookie, and you could probably take a bunch of the stuff that went into making those and make other things.
Literally.
But if you put them together, they become that.
Yeah.
And wow, if that's not a weird metaphor for art, I don't know what is.
I was just about to say, let's not put kale juice or some shit in it. Like, let's be normal about it. But yes.
Well, that's a great place to take a break. We're going to take a quick message from our sponsors, and we'll be right back with more on the Nashville Tour Stop Podcast. The Nashville Tour Stop Podcast is recorded live on Music Row in Nashville, Tennessee at Interstate Music, and is produced by Amadio AV Solutions with Mr. Alex Amato. Now more from the Nashville Tour Stop Podcast. And we're back with the Nashville Tour Stop Podcast, episode number 112, featuring Jara Ward, who, for some reason in my brain, I thought that you had already been on the podcast, but no, you have not.
But we're just running it back because we had so much fun the first time.
I don't know why in the world I thought that I'd had you before.
Because most of our conversations are like a podcast.
Actually, that's pretty true. Yeah, we do talk like that.
We do. We do.
So you play down on Broadway.
I do.
Which circuit are you on these days?
TC.
Okay.
I've been doing that for a year now.
Do you like it?
I love it.
Because
I do love it.
You're full-time music now. You don't have a day gig anymore. This is your
Nope.
day gig.
This is my day gig. It's been like that for a year. I know. If we talk about crazy things, that like decisions I've made, I decided to start in September of last year, which I knew was slow season, but I didn't know. And so I stopped my job at the start of slow season in September. And I was like, oh. But last year was particularly warm until November, December. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it wasn't really slow season until then. But I think
we're in the heat of the slow season now.
Yes,
the cold of the slow season?
Sure. Both.
Yeah.
Well, I was in shorts on last Thursday.
Yeah, I know.
I literally was wearing shorts last
It's like
Thursday.
70 degrees today.
I'm so confused. My body's confused.
Yeah, I have so much firewood at my house ready for winter. And it's freaking 70
never
degrees.
Gonna come.
I'm just like opening my windows and just like, well, spring's here.
Yes.
Happy Valentine's Day.
That's it. It's summer.
Yeah, it's summer in the middle of winter.
It's one of the
South.
craziest things. Yes.
So you play downtown though. You've been doing that through the slow season. What have your experiences been like down on Broadway?
Wild, to say the least. Most days are pretty normal.
Okay.
For Broadway, I love waking up and smelling the events of last night.
Smelling
before.
You're like, is that ketchup, Bud Light, and vomit?
Let's guess.
Oh, there's a hint of orange juice in there. It must be brunch.
Yes. It definitely is not for the faint of heart, I will say.
No, it's
I will
not.
say. But I do genuinely love it.
You have to be a special person to do that because I cannot do that.
I do love it. I also like being able to get up and go to work. Mm-hmm. I like being able to, the amount of people that you meet.
Right.
Good and bad. Good experiences, maybe not the best.
A lot of crazies.
Yeah, a little bit, a lot. But for the most part, I don't really play like late night hours, so I don't get as I don't get as much crazy. I get more like tourist kids, old folks, that like the morning bachelorette parties, that kind of thing.
Before they've blacked out.
Yeah. Yeah, before all the slushies kick in and they're gone. They're just goners. But
you said slushy, and the first thing that came into my brain was just like the giant boozy slushy machines.
Yes.
Those are so dangerous because none of it tastes like alcohol.
They're delicious.
Oh my God.
And they turn your tongue different colors. If you go get the ones at Jason Aldean's, they have like yellow, blue, and I don't know if there's a red one, but the blue ones turn your tongue blue, and it's great.
And it's so...
Because before you know it, you're like, oh, yeah.
It's like drinking Gatorade. Nobody calls it like, I'm drinking blue raspberry. You're like, I want the blue one. And it tastes like blue.
What is the name?
What's it taste like? Blue.
Yes. This tastes like blue. This tastes like yellow.
This one tastes
You can mix them.
Blue and yellow.
Yes.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Green.
Wait for it. Green. As a matter of fact... In the house.
No, there's this frozen drink that Greenbrier makes for a bunch of the bars, and it's a frozen old fashioned, and it's so good.
I wish I could have that.
Like it's spectacular.
I can't have old fashions.
Why?
Another fun fact: I'm allergic to cinnamon.
You're allergic to cinnamon?
Fully.
Wow.
Yes.
Is there cinnamon in old fashions?
In bitters.
Oh.
Like in all bitters.
Who'd have thunk?
It doesn't. I did not.
How did you? Okay, what's the backstory on you learning you're allergic to cinnamon?
So my mom is actually allergic to cinnamon, but I wasn't for a very long time. I used to eat cinnamon toast like a drug addict.
Motherfucker. You're like, I don't even need the milk. I'll just dive in full hand.
Dude. No, not Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Cinnamon toast.
Oh, cinnamon toast.
Like you get the Wonder Bread, you put the butter, you put the cinnamon, you put the white sugar on it.
I've definitely done that too.
Yes. Everyone has. You're not above it. Don't act like you're above this. Because
don't act like you haven't made toast and then put a bunch of peanut butter on it.
It is magic. Mm-hmm. It is magic. I don't care what anyone says. So I used to eat that. I would eat that breakfast, lunch, and dinner if you let me. And then one time we had Cinnamon Toast Crunch in the house, and I ate that, and I felt so weird. Like my throat felt weird, my tongue felt huge, and I was like, what's happening? And my mom was like, you might be allergic to cinnamon. And I was like,
oh no,
absolutely immediate no,
absolutely not.
That's
give me the EpiPen.
Cannot be an option. Cannot be an option. And so it did happen a few other times. Like I would eat something that had cinnamon in it, and it just, my throat would start to itch. My tongue would do that thing where it feels big, which now I know it is definitely was swelling.
That is swelling.
And so I was like, oh, okay. And so
you never had to go to the hospital or anything though?
Never had to go to the hospital.
Okay, so this isn't a life or death.
No, I have not ever let it get that far.
Okay,
so I don't think it's a life or death. I think it definitely like gives me a headache. Mm-hmm. If I smell it, I'll get a little itchy if it's like topical kind of thing.
Wow.
Yeah, really weird. Also still just discovering new things with this allergy. There's like a lot of like bitters, had no idea. But I literally looked up, no matter what the flavor of bitters is, there's some type of cinnamon
in there.
Type of ingredient in there. And I'm like, cool. Great.
Well, I'm sorry you can't
have
the frozen cold
I just tell myself that I don't like cinnamon now to make it better.
To make it better for yourself?
But
it's like when you break up with someone, you're like, I didn't even like you to begin with.
Yeah, it's not helping.
It's like, I know that we spent every day together for several years, but I hate you now, and I never loved you.
I never loved you. That's what I say to the center of a cinnamon roll. It's literally
You should write a song called I Never Loved You, and then it's just in parentheses cinnamon.
Yes, literally.
And people are going to think, is she singing a song about a stripper?
Literally, that would be my, if my stripper name would be Cinnamon. That's what's ironic, is it definitely probably would have to be, right?
It would have to be, because you're like, I am killing myself doing this.
Yes. Speaking of Broadway and strippers, I think that my bank lady thinks I'm a stripper, because I will bring, like, I don't go to the bank.
Cash.
Yes, every day. I like wait until it gets
right. You're not bringing $25 in ones.
I'm literally not going to do that.
You're bringing $500 in ones.
Yeah, and so she's never said it. We just make this eye contact. She knows who I am. She knows that I always have at least a couple of $100 in small bills. And she's never asked, and I've never said, but I know
she thinks it.
Just she thinks it.
I've had that happen at the bank before, because all of our tour stop stuff is done direct deposit, and that's all super above board. But I have had clients in the past where they won't pay me for shows for like 6 months. Like it happened with Cabana Taps, which is now closed. But
I was just about to ask you what happened.
It's been closed for at least a year now.
Wow.
But
R.I.P.
I think it closed in January of 2022, 2023. 22? It's closed.
Got it.
But, it's closed. But they didn't pay me for like 6 months of shows once. And I was like, I'm broke. You have to pay me now.
Yeah.
And they paid me 6 months worth of pay in cash. And one day I had like $6,000 in 20s. And it wasn't just like, here's a nice envelope. It was like rolled up like drug money. And it was rolled up like drug money. And I called my bank and I was like, so I know you close in 3 minutes and I'm 10 minutes away. I need you to stay open, please. A client just paid me and I need to deposit this money now. I'm not comfortable having $6,000 cash because it's going to be the day my car gets stolen. It's going to be the day that I get mugged.
It's going to
be the day that my house burns down.
It's going to be the day.
And
all three.
Or all three. Knowing my luck, it could have been. But that's why I go to the bank in person. Like, I could do everything online.
Yeah.
But I go into the bank in person because...
I go to the bank in person, too.
Look at us. High five. Like, it's one of the only things that I do that I definitely picked up from my dad is he did all of his banking in person, and he hates mobile banking. I don't mind, like, doing transfers
I love
stuff.
a good mobile banking app.
I don't mind it.
I love looking at how much money I have. I love knowing when the money comes out.
How much money you have. I love looking at how much money I don't have.
Yeah, that's what I should have said. I love knowing when all the money comes out.
I love going to Kroger and then finding out how much money I can spend on chicken and then thumbing through the packages to see which one's the cheapest.
There you go. See? It has its perks. It has its perks. But I do love a bank drive-through.
Yeah, but going in with all that cash, she did give me the face of just like,
Amateur Tuesday night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Amateur night.
Really good.
It's like you did good. You had a good night last night.
Had a good crowd.
It's like yes.
You didn't even deny it.
But I totally feel you on that because it's something that you wouldn't consider is like because we're musicians, whatever. We get paid in cash all the time.
Literally. But what's funny is like if I were to be like, I think I might have told her one time. I was like, oh, I'm a musician. I'm sure that's what all the strippers say. Right? And she's like, okay.
Your name is Candy with an I. Candy?
Yeah, Jara. What normal civilian's name is Jara?
Jara. That's definitely not a stage name.
Yeah. What? Different stage.
Yeah, so Jara's not a stage name. That is your given name. Is it short for anything?
Nope.
Jara.
You want to know what I was named after?
What?
I don't even know if I should say this out loud. It'll follow me.
Ooh. Give me the skinny.
It's not even that. It's literally not cute. I was named after a horse.
You were named after a horse?
I was named after a horse. We went through... What was funny is I found this out when I was in second grade. I had gone to public school 1 year, and it was in second grade in Montana, and we did this thing like where you find out where your name is from. And so I had to go ask, and I was named after my great aunt's horse that the family like loved.
Gee, thanks.
And I was like, cool. And then it died. So my mom, yes. And so she was like, that's kind of where we got the idea for the name. And I was like, great. And so my sister's name is JC. So we're JC and Jara, which is cute. It is cute. It is cute. When you put it next to her name, it's adorable. But when it's just like by itself, you're like, we maybe need, and it's Jara. I was like, maybe just throw an H in there. Like, just add the H on the end so it maybe makes sense.
Jaranda.
Yes. Maybe worse. That might be worse. Yeah, that might be going in the wrong direction.
We should give you an apostrophe and you can be Jara.
I'll think on it.
Make it worse. Let's just brainstorm ways to make our names worse. We'll put a dash between my A's. It'd be Aaron.
Yeah, there you go. I'm Jara.
Jara.
Jaruh.
Anytime I go to text you and use Siri, it'll be like texting Hara.
Yes. Yep.
Hara.
You have to put an H because then she'll say Jara.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. I hate that you have to know that.
I hate that I have to know that too. I do hate that I have to know that, but it's fine.
So where do you fall in the hierarchy of the children?
I'm the youngest.
You're the youngest? I'm the baby too.
I'm the baby.
I'm the baby.
But then the great-grandkids came along.
So do you have just the one older sister?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have Joel and Justin, and then I'm Aaron. And surprise, I'm Aaron. But I was like, why didn't I get a J name? And then when I was a kid, my brothers were so kind to tell me, oh, you were adopted. Like, they're like, oh yeah, we got like Joel Randall, that's my dad's name. Justin Christopher, that's my mom's name.
Oops.
And they're like, oh yeah, you were adopted, you didn't get a family name. And in my head as a kid, I was just like, what?
Yeah, I got we picked you up at Walmart.
Yeah,
we'll return you if you don't behave. I still have the I still have the receipt.
No, I totally
little older,
little
sibling fun
I totally
there.
believed it because
yeah.
Like, eventually my dad told me like, no, you were named after a kid that was in my youth group. I'm like, that's not better. Like, thanks. They also thought I was going to be a girl. They thought I was going to be a girl. Back in the 90s, they misread the sonogram, and they didn't see that. And then when I popped out, they're like, oh.
It's like that episode of Friends, Chandler's a boy.
That is exactly.
Or Chandler's a girl.
Chandler's a girl.
Chandler's a girl.
That is exactly what happened
Aaron's
to
a
me.
boy.
They're like, Aaron's a boy, because they had planned on naming me Holly Marie. Wow. That was going to be my name.
So when we went in second grade, when we like went around and everyone told us or like where you got your name from and all this stuff, this girl, her name was Holly, and she got her name from a gas station. She was named after a gas station. Yeah, and I was like, okay, horse is looking pretty good. Horse is looking pretty good. Unless her family owned that gas station, then it would have been like,
oh my! I don't even know if owning the gas station would make it
might have been cool because at least she'll have lots of money. Probably if the gas station is successful.
But yeah, I make the joke now. It's like, oh no, my parents named me Aaron because they opened up the baby name book, saw the first name, and stopped. Like, I am the first name. I got that AA, but
that's
like, ugh.
Yeah.
At least I wasn't named after a horse.
Shout out. Could be worse, right?
I mean, there's worse things to be named.
Could be worse.
Oh my God, I have this game that I play with my older brother Justin where I text him the crazy names of girls I swipe on dating apps. And I think it was 2 days ago, I texted him. I swiped on a girl named Borg.
That's not a real name.
It was.
I'm so sorry.
I was seriously just like, all right, she's got to be just making a fake profile. This has got to be trolling for sure. Borg, Borg. Your name is Borg.
That one's a stretch.
There, Tristily, that was a bad one. Tririly, Tririliy. No, Tristity. That was it. Tristity.
Tristity.
And I'm just like, what crack parents are coming up with these names? It's like, at least Jara got named after a horse.
Yeah, that's true. See, mine's looking up. Yeah, it's like, Aaron sounds like a boring name, but nobody sees this name and they're like, that's stupid. Yeah.
Seeing some of these people's names, I'm like,
yeah, that's tough.
That's a bad name.
have to say that I have not met another Jara. So
I
have that going for me. As far as the music career situation.
You are just Jara Ward online,
there's
right?
literally, yes, yeah. Everyone was like, what's your stage name going to be? I'm like,
Jara
just
Ward.
my name.
Like me, who was on a show of all Alexes.
Yes. I think it was 2021, I booked a show down at Alley Taps for Tour Stop, and the poster just said Alex. And I booked 6 hours of people named Alex.
Oh my God. That's amazing.
It was funny.
That rules. Yeah.
It was really funny.
Yeah.
I like doing things like that.
I'm one of one, which is kind of nice.
One show that I didn't get to do that was actually the show called Little Guitars, and it was all people who played the Baby Martins, because I just thought it would be really funny to have 16 people.
I want one of those so bad.
They're so cute.
I know. I think the first time I ever saw one, don't you play one?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the first time I ever saw one, I was like, that is the cutest guitar
It's
I've
the
ever
cutest little guitar.
It's so little.
They're really easy to play, too, because of their size.
Yes,
and
but they have such big sound for how little they are.
Mm-hmm.
I do love them.
I love them. They're really easy to play.
Cute.
They have trouble staying in tune, but have you ever gotten your guitars like? Do you ever get your guitar set up, like professionally set up?
No, but I should.
It's worth, if you had never done it before, listener or Jara, it's worth like the $75 it costs. They clean it. They'll put new strings.
Oh my God, that's all it costs. Wow,
oh yeah, it's cheap.
Really go take
$75-$100 for a really, I won't call it quote expensive, but a setup will change the height of the string to the fretboard and will literally make your guitar easier to play.
You should really give me the plug of who I should take that to.
I can do that, Austin Skinner.
Perfect.
Yes, but it will really help your guitar a lot.
I should do that.
And you'll start to notice when you're playing, you're like, oh, my hands don't hurt quite as bad.
I love that. Yeah, considering I do that full time for 3 to 4 hours every day.
It's a worthy investment, and it's tax deductible.
Hey, ding ding. Ding, 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 ding. I love those. I do love those.
So what are you working on these days? What are you planning for the rest of 2024? You're working full time as a musician down on Broadway. You just released a single. What's in the future for Jara Ward?
Future, I would love to start going out on the road more.
Cool.
So that will probably start doing like some full band shows.
That'd be sweet.
Yeah, I know so many musicians and so many great people
who want to do that.
Yeah, who want to also do that, and so we're all kind of running towards that same vision.
That's cool.
Yeah, so maybe
what kind of gigs are you playing on Broadway? Are you doing solo, duo stuff? Or are you doing the full band things?
Duo, trio.
Cool.
So that's probably where I'll start, is doing a little bit of full band stuff here in the next couple months, and then just gonna try to start releasing music, make
that's
more
cool.
TikToks, do the whole thing, all that.
Follow the dream.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I was texting one of my friends. I was like, it's kind of hard to like make up. This is just a first world problem. I was like, it's
give it to me.
I was like, it's kind of hard to make up content when you were like born to be a Facebook mom era.
Yep.
And just like take the same pictures of your cookies that you just made.
I'm loving the cookies.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
You are now like the upper echelon of guests I've ever had.
Let's go.
So if you're listening and you ever get asked to come on the podcast and you think, oh, Aaron might like some beer. No. Cookies. Bring me cookies. I'm
so sorry to everyone that is coming on it after this. I did not mean to start something
cookies.
here.
I don't need any more.
But I'll text you the link to the recipe.
I don't need any more Jack Daniels. I do need more Jara Ward chocolate chip cookies.
Well, next time I'll just bring you banana bread. How about that?
Banana bread?
Banana bread? At work, dude?
You're
Hell
gonna
yeah.
fatten me up like a pig.
It's good for you.
That's what the video is for. It's good for you.
It's good for you. Yeah.
Well, Jara, will you give us your plugs? Tell folks where they can find you online.
Oh, yes, I can. You can find me Instagram, Jara Ward Music, TikTok, Jara Ward Music, Spotify, Apple Music, where you can listen to all my things, earn me 0.03 cents per stream. Whatever that number is.
Listen
now.
to Mountain Man, What Would Jack Daniels Do, and the brand new single,
My Little Girl's Heart.
There you go. There's so much cool stuff from Jara Ward.
So many good things.
And she's also just really nice.
Oh, thank you.
Well, you're welcome.
It's one of my
It'd be weird if I
mottos.
closed the episode by saying like, and you suck, get out.
You're a jackass.
You're a jackass. Later.
Please leave. That would be a little wild.
What's your website? JaraWardMusic.com?
Just JaraWard.com.
JaraWard.com.
You can book all things through me if you are listening to this and you would like to book me for an event at management@JaraWard.com.
And if you would like to hear her play Chicken Fried, it is $10,000.
Yes. Yep. Minimum.
That's what I tell people at my shows, that if they want to hear somebody play Chicken Fried or something during
Wagon
Writers
Wheel.
Round, it's like, if you want to hear your favorite song during Writers Round, $10,000. We'll play Freebird for $10,000.
Bro. I've not, to this day,
In last week's episode with Tori Grace, we were talking about pricing specific songs. Like, if you're doing live streams, like, I'll do an original for free, but if you want to hear me play Chicken Fried, it's $5.
Yeah.
So during a Writers Round, if you want to hear Chicken Fried, it's $10,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or if you wrote it, Zach Brown, you can play it.
Yeah, I guess, for free. Well, whatever. We'll let that one slide. How nice of you.
Yeah, I mean, it was like the time that we had one of the writers on Don't Think I Don't Think About It, the Darius Rucker hit play. And it was so cool when he played it. But then it must have been a week or two ago, I had somebody play a song, and they're like, all right, so I wrote this song, and it's called Don't Think I Don't Think About It. And I was like, oh, do I get to see the other writer of this song? And no. Nope.
Oh, different song.
This person just used the same title of a debatably one of his biggest songs and stole the melody and the name of the song.
Oh, no.
It's Capital Sin in Nashville.
Literally.
Yeah. But
that's
like,
literally the death sentence.
It's like, don't think I don't think about it. And I'm like, that's the melody of the song.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Don't steal.
Different words?
What?
Was it different words?
Different words, except for the first 2 lines of the song, which are "Don't Think I Don't Think About It" and "Don't Think I Don't Think About It," which is how that song starts. So the verses and the chorus change, but that'd be like starting off a song, you're like, I like my chicken fried, cold beer on a fried, and then changing everything else, and being like, no, it's different.
Yeah, that might be tough.
Like,
that's a tough look.
You might have to sign away some of your writer credit too.
Yeah, you may need to rewrite it, maybe.
Yeah, when I was living up in Missouri, I was playing an open mic right before I moved to Nashville, and it was around the time Moana came out.
Yes.
And that song,
Shout
How Far I'll
out.
Go, that's such a banger of a song. But, I mean, it was me in a dive bar with a bunch of 60-year-old men. We had never seen Moana, and this young girl comes in and plays our open mic, and it was really weird. And she's like, I wrote this song. It's called How Far I'll Go, and I hope you like it. And we heard this song for the first time, and we're like, holy shit, this girl wrote that song? This is going to be a hit. And then I heard it on the movie like 2 weeks later, and I was like, holy shit, this little girl. Lin-Manuel Miranda wrote this, and she lied. She lied about writing
Oh, my God.
the song from the movie. Capital punishment.
Wow.
Capital sin in Nashville.
That is tough.
Can't do that.
That is tough.
Tough.
So
if you're listening, don't lie about writing a song.
Don't. Just write the song. Just write a good song.
Yeah, just go write the song.
Just write a good song.
There is no except. Just write the song.
Yeah.
Well, Jared, do you have anything you'd like to leave our listeners with this week before we take off for the day?
Do no harm, take no shit.
Love that. Do no harm, take no shit.
That's all I got.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening to the podcast this week. You can follow Jara Ward on social media platforms. We'll have her stuff linked in the episode description this week. Woo-hoo. In the meantime, you can check us out at NashvilleTourStop.com and find our full live event calendar if you'd like to come see me, Jara, and possibly our producer, Alex Amato. He plays quite frequently as well. I mean, I play sometimes, but don't count on seeing me play. You can count on seeing me drink at the bar. But you can also follow us on all of our social media platforms at Nashville Tour Stop. So in the meantime, do remember that all roads do lead right back here to the Nashville Tour Stop. Yeehaw, motherfucker. Good night.